Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here at Charles Schwab Field with our Around the Horn, following Tennessee's 9-5 loss to Texas A&M in Game 1 of the Men's College World Series Finals. Just simply not a pretty game for the Vols tonight, Wes. Bad defense, poor pitching at times, and poor hitting throughout, mostly with runners on base.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's only really three sort of exposed nerves that Tennessee has. There's only three areas where this team can occasionally be bad. And that is, it does not have a legitimate, starting ace who goes in the first game of the series. It occasionally plays very bad defense in bunches, and it occasionally strikes out too much. When all three of those things happen in the same game, and you're playing a team as good as Texas A&M, you're probably going to lose. And you saw in that game, Ben, as soon as Tennessee stopped kicking the ball all over the place, that game started to get closer. As Tennessee just tried to start playing baseball. And when it did, that game got closer. But when you're down by that many runs, that team, I guess they were in that dugout tonight, has a lot more arms than Florida State does. You can't expect to come back again like that. I mean, Tennessee almost got the tying run to the plate in the ninth inning, which is impressive, but just that start was horrendous.
Yeah, it was. And sticking with the defense, I mean, you can talk about tough play, should have been ruled a hit, this, that, and the other. I quite frankly do not care. It's the national championship. You got to make the plays at the end of the day if you want to be national champs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, you got to make the plays right in front of you. When you have all day to throw across the diamond, you can't throw a ball that is so short that it hits the lip of the grass rather than the dirt, so Blake Burke can't even pick it. You can't have your right fielder kind of like a can of corn just take the ball and toss it to second base when he absolutely had a chance with even a decent throw to get that runner out at the plate. Then you can't kick another ground ball out there later. I mean, you can't do those things. There are teams, to be honest, that Tennessee could probably give 30 outs to and have a pretty good chance of beating. This is not one of them. This is the national championship. You give away free outs like this, you waste at bats, you waste opportunities, you're going to pay for it. You can't give a team like that, even hobbled, that many outs.
Yeah, and Chris Thomas, not the best of opening innings for him, and the game inning did start with an error there from the freshman shortstop. Maybe if that play is made, maybe the inning goes differently. That's a fair thing to point out. But A&M did seem like they were seeing Stamos pretty well and barreling some baseballs. And then you throw Causey into yet another jam. And, Causey, I thought his stuff was better this time around than it was against Florida State. But still wasn't quite what Tennessee needed him to be.
No, he hasn't been, and it's been leaking a little bit of oil lately, and it's just the wrong time of the year for that. But it is what it is, and you have to move on. That's just kind of what you have to do. But I honestly don't blame Stamos really one bit for that home run. When you go back and look at that pitch, that thing is, for lack of a better phrase, that thing is nipple high and several inches off the outside corner. That ball.
That wasn't a bad pitch.
That was not.
It's better hitting.
That was a good 0-2 pitch. And it wasn't like a meatball. It wasn't down in velocity. It was a good pitch that a good young hitter got up into the wind blowing out to right, and it left the yard. And then Curley should make that play at shortstop. I am not faulting Stamos for his performance in this tournament. I do not think it has been bad. I think the guys around him have let him down. And I think that the fact that Causey's behind him means that there's not much rope there. So, listen, this did not burn Tennessee until it did. And it burned Tennessee in this game. And if I had to do it all over again, going into it, I'd have done the same thing. They've been winning with it. They've been making it work. It just didn't work tonight.
It did not work tonight. Offensively, tough nights for Christian Moore and Kavares Tears. I thought Blake Burke and Dylan Dreiling, Hunter Ensley, Billy Amick, they had some big-time hits over the course of the game. But Tears and Simo, a night that they will like to quickly forget. And then the bottom of the lineup was just, outside of Dean Curley. Dean Curley had a really nice night at the plate as well, making up for his error. Bottom of the lineup, 8 and 9 hole hitters, just tough night for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody in the program loves Cal Stark, but he's not had a hit here, and he's had a couple walks, but they got to get something out of that spot. They got to get something out of that spot. He's going to play because he's their guy, and at this point in the season, you ain't changing that. But they just got to get something from him, and you hope for his sake everything that he's meant to this team and this program, that he finds a way to overcome that. And then I would be very surprised if we see Reese Chapman again the next couple of days. I think tonight was a really tough night for him, and the stuff he did in the field. You don't want to throw anybody under a bus, Ben, but you can't do that. You can't do that in this kind of situation. So I think if Inslee he can jog at least, I think he'll be out there in center and Tiers will be in right. And then they'll figure out maybe Bargo or somebody pinch hitter tomorrow. But, Moore and Tiers have done so many good things this season. Maybe tonight was just a bad night. They've got 2 more days to make up for that. So I'm going to hold off judgment there. I'm only talking about Stark because it's been like that in Omaha, and for 4 games now. They need something from him.
Lastly, looking ahead to tomorrow, Tennessee will try to extend its season by 1 day. We'll try to avoid elimination and avoid watching Texas A&M celebrate with the national championship trophy. First pitch, 1 p.m. local time, so very quick turnaround. For Tennessee, Drew Beam's going to be on the mound. Tony hasn't technically said that Drew Beam will be pitching, but he answered his questions on the media day the other day that they're sticking with what they've done to get to this point. Drew Beam's going to pitch, and then I think Lampkin might be the guy for A&M tomorrow.
Yeah, Schlossnagle.
They need a good outing for Drew Beam.
Yeah, I mean, Schlossnagle said that they honestly are not sure whether that's true or not, and it might be true with their situation right now. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure Tennessee would like to know, but there's no rule saying you got to tell them until an hour or so before the game, and that might be when it happens. So, yeah, I mean, listen, I still think Tennessee, Ben, is in decent shape to win this series. That might sound really stupid right now, and I know people think I'm sometimes the pessimistic guy. If Tennessee will just go out there and play baseball the way it can play baseball, Tennessee, I still think, has the better team, especially with some of A&M's injuries. You made Aschenbeck throw 3 innings tonight, made him throw 46 pitches. Stewart had to throw 56. Cortez is still fresh. Lampkin, he's going to be on really short rest. I mean, if Tennessee can just play defense and put the ball in play, I think Tennessee can still win this series. But any formula, I said going into it that I think any formula for an A&M win had to include a win in the opener. I didn't think that was the case for Tennessee. I still don't. I think Tennessee obviously can go win this thing. But any formula for Tennessee winning this thing has to include a vintage QB1. Like, I don't know if he's got to absolutely go like 7 or 8 shutty, but man, he's got to be good in this game tomorrow.
Yeah, he absolutely does, and that's why he's pitching on Saturdays. They've talked about it since the beginning of the season. They want Drew Beam in these situations, so he will look to deliver and build off a very nice outing against North Carolina in his last time out. So quick turnaround, but we've got plenty of coverage of Tennessee baseball up on the site at GoVols247.com. He's Wes Rucker and Ben McKee.